The station was always busy, filled with lights, noise, and travelers from 100 worlds. Ships came and went every hour, and most people passed through without trouble. Jonas Hale expected the same. He stepped out of the dusty passenger ship with his old travel bag hanging from his shoulder. He looked like any other tired traveler, quiet, calm, and hoping to reach the next ship soon. But today, the aliens running the station were strict. Their security team stood in long rows, checking every traveler's bag. Their armor shone under the bright lights, and their long eyes watched every move. Travelers whispered nervously as they moved through the line. Jonas sighed. He did not like attention, and he did not like delays. Still, he waited patiently. When his turn came, an alien guard held out a slender hand. "Bag," the guard said in a flat voice. Jonas passed it over. He kept his face calm, though his heart beat a little faster. The guard placed the bag on the scanner. Jonas expected it to show nothing important, just clothes, tools, and simple travel supplies. At first, the scanner hummed softly, just like it had for every other passenger. Then, suddenly, it made a sharp, loud beep. The screen flashed red. The guard froze. Travelers around Jonas stopped walking. Some turned to look. Others stepped back as if something dangerous had appeared. The guard tapped the scanner again. The red warning stayed. Another guard hurried over, then another. Soon, 3 of them stood around Jonas's bag, staring at the screen. Jonas felt his stomach tighten. He knew what was inside, but he never thought it would cause trouble. It was only a folded cloth. A memory, nothing more. One guard slowly unzipped the bag and reached inside. Jonas watched as the guard pulled out a dark blue uniform. The cloth was old but well cared for, with a silver emblem on the chest. The moment the guard saw the emblem, their eyes widened. A whisper passed through the security line. "Vanguard," one alien breathed. Another stepped back in fear. "Impossible! Humans do not wear that anymore." Jonas said nothing. He stood straight, trying to keep his hands still. More guards rushed over. One of them gently lifted the uniform as though it might explode. Others began scanning Jonas from head to toe. The lead guard stepped in front of him. "Why do you have this?" he asked, his voice tight. Jonas opened his mouth, but the guard raised a hand quickly. "No, do not speak. You will answer later." Before Jonas could even blink, 2 guards grabbed his arms, not roughly, but firmly. The crowd around him stepped back, giving the guards as much room as they wanted. Fear moved through them like a cold wind. To them, this was no normal cloth, no forgotten old uniform. It was something they respected or feared. Jonas tried to stay calm. "It's just—" "Silence," the guard said sharply. "You will come with us." They led him away from the inspection line and into a side corridor. Travelers whispered behind him. He heard words like dangerous, vanguard, and why is a human carrying that? Jonas kept his gaze forward. Every step echoed against the metal floor. He felt a strange mix of embarrassment and anger. He had done nothing wrong. He had only brought something that belonged to his family, something personal, something precious. They brought him into a small room with metal walls and a single chair. A bright light shone from above, making the room feel even colder than it already was. The guards pushed him gently toward the chair. "Sit." Jonas obeyed. 2 guards stood on either side of the door. Another placed a uniform on a table as if it were a dangerous weapon. The lead guard stepped closer and stared at Jonas for a long moment. "You will explain why you carry a uniform of the Earth Vanguard," he said quietly, "and why you hid it." "I didn't hide it," Jonas said softly. "It's just—" "Enough." The guard left the room without another word. Jonas sat alone. His hands rested on his knees. His mind raced. This was just a routine inspection. It was supposed to be nothing special. Yet now he sat in a cold room like a criminal, with guards who looked at him as if he carried something powerful. He thought about the uniform, about the person who once wore it. He closed his eyes for a moment. He had known the uniform could bring memories. He never imagined it could bring danger. As the door clicked shut, Jonas realized something simple but heavy. The aliens were not angry at him. They were afraid of what the uniform meant. And soon he would learn why. Jonas sat alone in the small metal room, listening to the faint hum of the station outside. The walls were plain, cold, and silent, but the guard's fear still hung in the air like a thick fog. He stared at the dark blue uniform folded neatly on the table. It looked harmless, soft, old, but to the aliens, it was something far more serious. After a long wait, the door slid open. A new alien stepped inside, older, taller, and dressed not in armor but in dark robes that mark a higher rank. His long eyes studied Jonas with a strange mix of caution and respect. "I am Inspector Vornal," the alien said slowly. "You carry something dangerous." Jonas frowned. "It's just a uniform." Vornal shook his head. "Not just any uniform." He moved closer to the table and touched the silver emblem. Earth Vanguard. High Command Division. This symbol, it is feared across 3 sectors. Jonas blinked in surprise. "Feared? Why?" Vornal gave a dry, humorless laugh. "You asked this? A human? Your people wrote the stories. Your people won the wars. You know what the Vanguard was." "I know what it used to be," Jonas said quietly, "but that was decades ago. Humans don't even have a military like that anymore." "Even so," Vornal said, "the memory remains. This symbol once meant unstoppable force." Jonas looked down at his hands. His chest felt tight. That uniform didn't belong to him. It belonged to someone he once looked up to, someone brave, someone gone. "It belonged to my father," he finally said. Vornal's expression shifted. The lines around his eyes tightened. "Your father, what was his name?" Jonas hesitated. He didn't want to say it. Not here. Not to someone who might use it against him. But Vornal was already watching him closely. "Please," the alien said, softer now. "Tell me. It may explain much." Jonas took a slow breath. "Captain Elias Hale." The room went silent. Vornal's eyes widened, and the guard standing at the door stiffened as if someone had shouted an order. One guard even took a step back. "You are his son?" Vornal whispered. Jonas looked confused. "Ah, yes. Why does that matter?" Vornal stared at the uniform again. "Your father was not just a Vanguard officer. He was a legend. Tales say he ended a war with nothing but a single ship and a crew who believed in him." Jonas shook his head, feeling embarrassed. "Those stories are exaggerated." "No," Vornal said firmly. "They are not." A soft alarm sounded outside the room, making the guards flinch. Vornal's face hardened. "They know now," he said. "Who knows what?" Jonas asked. "Others on the station. Other commanders. Other factions. Someone sent a report the moment your name appeared in our system." Jonas felt a chill. "And what does that mean?" "It means," Vornal said, "that some will want to honor you and others will want to capture you." Jonas stared at him, stunned. "Capture me? For what?" "For the uniform. For the stories. For the power they think a Hale carries." Vornal looked at him directly. "To some, your father is a symbol of hope. To others, a symbol of fear. They think you may be the same." Jonas swallowed hard. He had never wanted attention. He never wanted to be part of any old legend. "This is ridiculous," he whispered. "I'm a mechanic, a traveler. I don't even know how to fight." "That does not matter," Vornal said. "Symbols are more dangerous than weapons." The inspector walked around the table, keeping his voice low. "Tell me why you kept this uniform with you." Jonas stared at the cloth. "Because it's all I have left of him. I didn't want to sell it or leave it behind." Vornal nodded. "So it is personal." "Yes." "Then you must be careful. Very careful." Jonas frowned. "Why? What's going to happen?" Before Vornal could answer, the door alarm buzzed. A younger guard rushed in, eyes wide. "Inspector, a ship is requesting emergency docking. They demand access to the human immediately. Their commander says he has authority." Vornal's face went pale. "Who?" The guard hesitated. "The Kresh Dominion." Jonas had never heard the station so quiet. Even the humming in the walls felt like it had stopped. The Kresh Dominion. He remembered the name from stories. They were one of the alien factions his father fought long ago. Hard, angry, relentless. Vornal turned to Jonas with urgency in his voice. They fear the uniform you carry, he said. But the Kresh? They fear your bloodline. Jonas's heart pounded. What do they want with me? Vornal answered in a whisper. To erase the last hail from the galaxy before another legend begins. Jonas felt cold. He hadn't asked for this. He hadn't wanted any of it. He just wanted to travel with his father's memory. But now the galaxy remembered too, and it was coming for him. Jonas sat in the small room, staring at the folded uniform on the table. The cloth looked simple, just dark blue fabric with an old silver emblem stitched onto it. But after the inspector's words, it felt heavier than metal. It felt like the room itself had changed because of it. He reached out and touched the cloth softly. It was smooth, clean, and well-kept, even after all the years he had carried it. He thought of his father again, laughing, teaching him things, fixing machines with calm hands. Jonas had never seen him fight. He had only seen him as a father. Now the galaxy saw him as something else. The door slid open quietly. Inspector Vornal entered the room again, walking slowly, as if he was deep in thought. Jonas looked up. You said more factions would come. Why? Just because of this uniform? Vornal closed the door behind him. Not because of cloth itself, he said. Because of what is inside it. Jonas frowned. Inside it? There's nothing inside it. I've checked it many times. Vornal shook his head. You checked it as a son, not as someone who knows what the Vanguard used to carry. He stepped closer and gently lifted the uniform. With careful fingers, he pressed on the inner seam of the collar. A soft clicking sound echoed in the small room. Jonas's eyes widened. What was that? A lock, Vornal said. The inspector slid his finger along the seam. Something thin and metallic slipped free. Something even Jonas had never seen. It was a small strip of dark silver, no larger than a finger, with tiny lines glowing faintly on its surface. Jonas stared. What is that? Data, Vornal whispered. Hidden information. Protected. Only high-level Vanguard officers carried these. And only in uniforms they trusted no one else to touch. Jonas felt his breath catch. My father hid this in his clothes? Yes, Vornal said. And no one ever found it, even after he was gone. Jonas leaned closer. The small device gave off a soft, warm light that felt almost alive. Why would he hide something like this? Vornal looked at him, his expression serious. Because this is not ordinary data. This is something worth killing for. Jonas felt a chill run down his spine. What's on it? We don't know yet, Vornal said. But the Kresh Dominion, they would not come all this way for a name or a memory. They came because they learned that your father carried something important. Jonas felt his heart race. And they think I have it. Vornal nodded. Because you do. And now I know why they reacted with fear when they saw the emblem. Jonas sat back, trying to understand. He had kept the uniform only because of the memories. He had worn it once during a holiday to honor his father. He had never even thought about hidden technology inside it. What do I do with it? He asked quietly. Vornal hesitated. First, we must know what it holds. But we cannot open it here. This station has too many ears. Jonas glanced at the door. The Kresh ship, it's docking, isn't it? Yes, Vornal said. They will send soldiers soon. And they do not care who gets hurt. Jonas rubbed his forehead. This is insane. I just want to travel. I just want to keep something of my father. And now you carry his final mission, Vornal said, even if he did not choose it. Jonas stared at the glowing strip again. What kind of mission? Vornal's voice lowered. In old records, your father was part of something called Project Shard. No one knew what it was, not even the other officers. Jonas frowned. Shard. Yes, Vornal said. A project that ended right before he disappeared. Jonas felt his chest tighten. His father had gone missing during a mission. There had been no answers. No body. No message. Just silence. Do you think this, Jonas looked at the strip, is connected to that mission? Vornal nodded slowly. I believe it is not only connected, it may be the last piece. Jonas tried to steady his breathing. He didn't want to cry, but emotions hit him one after another. Fear, confusion, and then something else, something sharp, something protective. His father had trusted no one with this. No one but him. Vornal placed a hand on the table. Jonas, listen. The Kresh are coming for you. They want to strip. They want to erase your father's legacy. But this data could change everything. It may even explain why he never returned. Jonas clenched his fists. I'm not giving it to them. Vornal gave a small, grim smile. Good, because now you must run. Jonas stood. Run where? To someone who can open this, Vornal said. Someone who still remembers the Vanguard, not as soldiers of fear, but as protectors. I can help you reach them. Jonas slipped the glowing strip into his pocket. The uniform suddenly felt lighter, not because it lost weight, but because he finally understood something. The truth beneath the cloth wasn't fear. It wasn't war. It wasn't legend. It was a message, a final message from his father, and now it was his turn to uncover it. The alarms began slowly at first, just a soft red glow sliding across the ceiling. Jonas did not think much of it until the second alarm started, louder and sharper, ringing down every hallway of the station. The whole place suddenly felt alive in a dangerous way, as if the metal walls themselves were waking up with anger. Inspector Vornal grabbed Jonas's arm. They're here. Jonas felt his heart pound. The Kresh soldiers? Yes, Vornal said. And they're not trying to be quiet anymore. The hallway outside the small room rattled with heavy steps. Jonas heard the hiss of strange breathing devices and the clicking of armored boots. The peaceful, old space station he had walked through earlier now felt like a trap closing around him. Vornal pulled him toward the back exit. We must move now. The station systems are reacting to the Dominion's hacking. The whole place is turning hostile. Jonas looked around in panic. The lights flickered, turning from red to a sickly yellow. The doors along the corridor opened and shut on their own, slamming like angry jaws. Why is the station doing this? He whispered. Vornal replied quickly. This station is old, built with mixed alien tech. When someone tries to force control, it fights back. Right now, the Dominion is trying to take everything, and the station is losing patience. A door slammed shut just inches from Jonas's face. He jumped back, shocked. Sparks crackled near the top of the frame. They can lock us in here. Jonas said, That is why we keep moving, Vornal answered. The inspector guided him through a narrow maintenance shaft. It was dark, warm, and smelled of old wires. Jonas crawled behind Vornal, the glowing data strip in his pocket, bumping against his leg with every movement. He could hear the soldiers on the other side of the walls. Their deep voices echoed to the metal, speaking in a sharp alien language. Jonas didn't understand the words, but he understood the tone. They were hunting. The station groaned again. A loud clanking noise followed, like a giant gear snapping into place. What was that? Jonas whispered. Vornal looked back over his shoulder. The Dominion cracked the outer control panel. The station is sealing sections. Lockdown mode. Jonas swallowed hard. So it's trying to trap us too? It does not know who is friend or enemy right now, Vornal said. It only knows someone is attacking it. Jonas pushed forward, crawling faster. The shaft ended in a circular maintenance room. Pipes ran across the walls, and a single door stood on the opposite side. It flickered between open and closed, stuck in a loop. Jonas pointed. Is that the only way out? Yes, Vornal said. But we can break the cycle. The inspector tapped on a control panel beside the door. Sparks jumped out, and the panel went dark. That didn't help, Jonas said. It did, Vornal replied. Now the door is no longer receiving orders. He pushed it with all his strength. It groaned, shuddered, and slowly slid open just enough for Jonas to squeeze through. On the other side was chaos. The main walkway of the station was in full lockdown. Metal shutters were closing over windows. Emergency doors were sealing. The whole place shook with the sound of distant explosions. Kresh soldiers marched down the far side of the walkway, their armor glowing with dark green lights. Jonas ducked back behind the door. They're blocking the only path. Then we take the service tunnels, Vornal said. Before they could move, The lights went out completely. The hallway fell into total darkness. Jonas froze. What now? A deep rumble answered him. The floor under his feet trembled. Vornal whispered, "The Dominion is trying to shut down life support systems. The station is resisting." Jonas felt a cold wind rush through the corridor, followed by the sound of pressure vents hissing open. He covered his ears. It's tried to vent the air. Vornal pulled him into another side tunnel, just as a violent whoosh echoed behind them. The main walkway's air thinned rapidly. Jonas could feel the pressure drop like a punch in the chest. He gasped, "It wants us dead too." "No," Vornal said. "It wants the invaders dead. But we are in the way." They kept running. The tunnel lights flickered back to life in patches, blinking like old fireflies. Jonas stumbled around corners, his breath shaky, his hands trembling. The glowing data strip in his pocket almost seemed to burn with warmth, as if reminding him why this was happening. They reached a junction. Vornal stopped, breathing hard. "Jonas," he said, "the escape docks are ahead, but the Dominion troops will reach them first." Jonas swallowed. "So what do we do?" Vornal looked him straight in the eyes. "We don't go to the docks. We go to the core." Jonas shook his head. "The core? The station's heart." "Yes," Vornal said. "If we reach the core, we can shut out the Dominion, lock them in their own sections." Jonas stared. "But the station is already unstable. What if going there makes things worse?" "It might," Vornal admitted. "But if we do nothing, we are captured. Or worse." Jonas closed his eyes, thinking of his father, the uniform, and the hidden message inside the glowing strip. He opened his eyes again. "Then we go to the core." Vornal nodded once. "Good. Stay close." They ran deeper into the flickering tunnels as the station above them roared, shook, and fought like a wounded beast. The hunters were closing in. The station was turning against everyone. And Jonas had only one path left: to reach the heart of a dying machine before the whole place became a metal graveyard. Jonas and Vornal pushed deeper into the station until the metal walls around them changed shape. The tunnels here were older, curved like ribs of a giant creature. The lights flickered weakly, as if they were tired from all the fighting the station was doing on its own. They reached the final door before the core. It was tall, thick, and covered with warning signs. Jonas felt a tightness in his chest. Once they stepped through, there would be no turning back. Vornal placed his hand on the old control plate. "Once we enter, the core will sense us. It will not attack, but it will not help either. We must be fast." Jonas nodded. "Let's finish this." With a heavy groan, the door opened. The core chamber was huge and round. At the center was a glowing pillar of white-blue light, moving like slow fire. The air in the room hummed. Jonas could feel the vibration deep in his bones. It was like standing next to something alive, a creature made of metal, energy, and age. Vornal guided him to a small panel near the edge. "The data strip," he said. "It must be connected here. Once it is inside the system, the Dominion soldiers will lose access to the station." Jonas reached into his pocket. The glowing strip felt warmer now, almost pulsing in his hand. He took a deep breath, but before he could insert it, a loud sound echoed through the chamber. Heavy footsteps. Metal boots. Vornal turned sharply. "They found us." Out of the shadows stepped 3 Kresh soldiers. Their armor was cracked from the station's attacks, but their weapons were raised. The leader pointed at Jonas. "Human," the soldier growled. "Step away from the core." Jonas felt fear squeeze his stomach. His hands trembled. He looked at Vornal, who whispered, "Do not stop now." The Kresh leader took a step forward. "Give us the strip. This station belongs to the Dominion." Jonas shook his head. "No." The soldiers aimed their weapons. And then something inside Jonas changed. He thought of his father's uniform. He thought of all the aliens who feared the cloth. He thought of the message hidden inside the strip. He thought of Vornal, who had trusted him, even though they had only met hours ago. Then he stepped forward instead of back. The Kresh soldiers froze, surprised. Jonas raised his voice, shaking but strong. "I don't know what happened in the past. I don't know why humans scare you, but I won't let you hurt anyone today. The leader growled. You are only one human. I know, Jonas said, but I'm still standing. The glowing core behind him made his shadow stretch across the floor. The soldiers hesitated. For a moment, just a moment, they saw something more in the small human boy. A strength, a history, a warning. Vornal used that hesitation. He grabbed Jonas by the shoulder. Now! Jonas slammed the glowing strip into the panel. A blast of light shot through the room. The core roared, brighter than before. Waves of energy ran through the walls, through the floors, through every wire in the station. Jonas felt the whole place shudder. Then the alarms changed tone. The red light softened. The doors in the distance slammed shut one by one. Vornal smiled. It worked. The core accepted the code. The Dominion is locked out. The Kresh soldiers tried to move, but the station reacted before they could. A shock wave pulsed through the chamber. Their weapons shorted out. Their armor froze. They stumbled back, trapped by the station's control. Jonas breathed hard, staring at what he had done. Did we save it? We did, Vornal said. You did. Jonas felt weak with relief. He sank down onto the cold metal floor, smiling just a little. But the station wasn't finished yet. A soft blue light appeared above the core, forming a faint human shape. Just light. No features, but human in outline. Jonas stood again, amazed. What is that? He whispered. The station, Vornal said quietly. It is trying to communicate. The light shape turned toward Jonas. Its voice was soft, echoing and warm. Human code recognized. System defense restored. Thank you, young one. Jonas swallowed hard. He had never heard anything like it. The light faded slowly until it was gone. Silence filled the room. Vornal placed a hand on Jonas's shoulder. You stood tall today. Many humans would not have done what you did. Jonas gave a shaky laugh. I was scared the whole time. Courage, Vornal said, is not the absence of fear. It is choosing to act, even when afraid. Jonas looked back at the core. It glowed gently now, stable and calm. So what happens next? Jonas asked. You return home, Vornal said. The station will send you safely. And the message your father left inside that strip, you are ready to hear it now. Jonas felt his heart beat faster. A message for me? Yes, Vornal said. A message only a brave human could use. Jonas stood in the quiet chamber with a mix of fear, hope, and pride. He had survived an alien attack. He had saved a dying station. He had faced soldiers who feared his father's uniform. And he had stood tall when it mattered most. For the first time, Jonas felt it fully. He was human, and that meant something powerful.